I quickly wanted to touch on Xbox Game Studios just based off of the very positive reception to Forza Horizon 5. I think it's fair to say that Xbox First Party had a shocking start to this generation. Literally no new releases at the launch of the console, which to this day I think about, it just baffles me. Like, if that happened at any other generation, they'd be raked over the coals. Rightfully so. Game Pass carried them through the first 6 months of 2021 with games like MLB and Outriders as well. There were a couple of good indie games also scattered amongst it, but it wasn't until Psychonauts 2, the Sea of Thieves, Pirates of the Caribbean expansion dropped as well, like halfway through the year. Matt, thanks for the follow. That they actually really started to get going. So the first 7-8 months of the Series X and S life cycle was really lacking from a first party perspective. We got some nice upgrades to Gears 5, Forza Horizon 4, Ori runs at 4K 120, which is amazing. But yeah, there was nothing there. Whereas on the PlayStation 5 side, you had Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, Sackboy, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, MLB, of course. So they were really knocking it out of the park. And Xbox have finally launched a couple of salvos, right? I said, we had Sea of Thieves expansion, Psychonauts 2, looking like a game of the year contender potentially as well. That game reviewed really well. Age of Empires 4 doing pretty good. I think it's sitting at about an 80 on Metacritic, so it's mostly positive for that game. Forza Horizon 5, at least last I checked, the highest rated new release game of 2021, tied with Psychonauts 2. So they're Xbox late to the party, but they're doing really well. And if Halo really delivers, and all signs pointing to at least the multiplayer being very strong, the campaign overview we got recently, which I'll start playing in the background just so you guys have something to look at other than my ugly mug, looking relatively promising as well, right? I think there's still reason to be concerned for this one, but just the last 6 months, it might be the strongest 6 months in Xbox history. If I'm being honest, there hasn't been that condensed releases like that in a very, very long time. I'm thinking back to 2015 when we had, I think it was Forza Motorsport 6 at the time, Halo 5 Guardians, Rare Replay, Gears Ultimate Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider was an exclusive in that window. 2016 we had Forza Horizon 3 and Gears 4. So I just think they're firing all cylinders at the moment, and to me it's at least really, really impressive. So I really think that if Halo nails it, then I think the narrative of where are the quality games from Xbox goes away, at least in my mind. I think there are still question marks on can they deliver on some of these games that are exciting in name, like Perfect Dark, Fable, Avowed. Obviously, will Bethesda nail it with Starfield and Redfall, for instance? It's also looking like the early 2022 for Xbox is looking a bit empty. We don't have a lot of clarity. We know that we have Stalker 2, which is not first party, but will be day one in Game Pass in April. I think that'll fill kind of like that AAA hardcore gap that Microsoft might have. Crossfire X was meant to launch this year, and back in September they said that it would, but it's now approaching mid-November and we have no word on when that's coming. It has to be 2022. So maybe that arrives early and that's good, single player campaign being done by Remedy, the guys who did Control and Quantum Break and Alan Wake. That could be great. And Grounded, looking to get a 1.0 release in early 2022 as well. My friend Kim loves that game, and she's been really enjoying it. So he's hoping that really kicks into gear also. So at least for me, I'm looking at all these releases and the relatively promising games coming up. And I'm thinking, this might be the turning point that we've obviously been looking for. The seeds were planted in 2018 with all these acquisitions. And now here we are at the end of 2021 and going into 2022 with some fantastic games. And also, Deathloop, again, PlayStation 5 and PC, but made now by a studio owned by Microsoft. That's really, really exciting for their future first-party output. So I'm really hopeful for the future, and really impressed with how much they've been able to nail it. I look at things like Psychonauts 2. That game took a really long time to come out, and Tim Schafer's been very vocal about the extra time they were afforded, and the resources they were afforded to keep all the content that they wanted to in Psychonauts 2. I think there were a lot of boss battles that they were considering cutting, were they to, obviously run out of funds, but obviously then Microsoft comes along and helps them along. Similar thing for Wasteland 3 last year. In Exile, we were able to do full voiceover for the game, something they weren't considering until they were acquired by Xbox. So I have to give them kudos, because a few years ago it wasn't looking terribly. Let's say it was looking very bleak. That outlook. I do want to get to chat. There were a lot of people chiming in. Cameron saying IGN's 310s are all Xbox first party titles for this year. What? So hang on. So they got Forza. What else did they give a 10 to? Deathloop? Oh, they gave it 10 to Deathloop. What else did they give it to? Flight Sim? Did Psychonauts 2 get a 10 at IGN? I did not know that. There you go. Matt saying you agree for like another half-step console. Yeah, like at the launch, definitely. Cameron, you're saying also by mistake this year has reflected Microsoft classic titles perfectly. Yeah, I think we chatted about that on last week's episode, right? Like the fact that here we are at the 20th anniversary of Xbox, and we have Halo's 20th anniversary being celebrated with Infinite's launch. Age of Empires coming back in a big way, obviously a long-running Microsoft franchise. Flight Sim arriving on console, which is their longest-running gaming franchise. And then also Psychonauts 2, obviously the original was a original Xbox exclusive back in 2005, I think. So, that part of it's really exciting. Also, Luke is saying now Double Fine can make those Excel games. I still remember that joke on the E3 stage as well, Luke. It was really good. Tim Schafer's the best. Double check Psychonauts 2. I don't think it got a 10 from IGN. Matt saying, love you some Double Fine. Okay, I was an 8. Okay, cool. Forgetting the third game. Yeah, I don't think... Flight Sim, I think just got a 10 again. They gave it a 10 last year on PC. And they gave a 10 to the console version as well. Oh my god, we're spending way too much time on this first topic. I need to move on. Let's see here. What have we got? That's right. I wanted to take a look at... So there have been like a lot of rumors recently that I've been keeping an eye on, and like I check them out. I'm like, oh, that sounds really exciting. But I haven't spoken about it, and I think I want to tie this into what we mentioned earlier, even about acquisitions. So let me link this one in chat. Actually, it's a great Windows Central article, probably by Jez Corden. Yeah, by Jez Corden. Basically, just recapping what we know of. Of Xbox's first party lineup currently, and everything that's rumored as well. I'll bring it up on screen so you can all check it out. We'll dive down into the details here, but the quick TLDR, quick list as they have it here. Obviously a lot that's announced and public knowledge, like Halo Infinite and Hellblade 2. Obsidian's got Grounded, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2. But I'll scroll down now, and we'll just touch on briefly some of the ones that aren't quite as known but are still really exciting. This one, Compulsion Games, this one I'm really intrigued by. So this is the very small Montreal-based studio that worked on Contrast, which I think was a PlayStation indie title, and then We Happy Few, which obviously Xbox pushed a lot on their E3 stage a few years ago. It did turn out fantastically. I think it was a roguelike and it had Bioshock vibes. I never checked it out. But they're said to be working on a third-person action game with a dark fantasy aesthetic. So that's exciting. I feel like Xbox has first-person games nailed down, particularly with Bethesda on board now as well. I would like to see a bit more variety in that sense. So I think the fact that Compulsion is looking to do this. I think this was confirmed by one of their developers as well on a podcast. So that's really exciting. Don't know when we'll hear or see that. I suspect 2023 at the earliest. Double Fine. I know Tim Schafer just as Psychonauts 2 was shipping, saying that he wants to do something a bit smaller. Obviously Psychonauts 2 was a massive project for them. So it'd be interesting to see what they do next. They're easily like one of my favorite Xbox studios. Like you never know what they're going to make. I love that about them. I love that just going to, like Supergiant, right? You know, they go from Bastion to like an isometric action game to Transistor, which is like turn-based tactics, to Pyre, which was like a strategic sports game, and then Hades, which is a roguelike. They just jump around. Same with Clay Entertainment. They're fantastic at that as well. So yeah, keen to see what Double Fine does next. In Exile, this is exciting. This is the Wasteland guys. Obviously, Brian Fargo, father of Fallout. They're all wrapped up on Wasteland 3 essentially, and they've already confirmed that they're, I think via job listings, that they're working on a first-person. Here we go. We understand this to be a Victorian era styled steampunk adventure with industrial revolution, inspired sci-fi tech and a branching narrative. And apparently this is first-person RPG on Unreal Engine 5. All of that is so exciting. Like Victorian era styled steampunk adventure, industrial revolution inspired sci-fi tech. Yes to all of that. I find that so exciting. I'm missing out on chat here. Here we go. Cobra Disco Elysium, the final cut got a 10. Oh, right, so that was the other 10 from IGN. Nice. Mojang, I'd be interested to see if they do another Minecraft spin-off. Dungeons seems to be doing pretty well, so that'd be pretty exciting. Obviously Hellblade 2 and Project Mara from Ninja Theory. Obsidian. So this was really weird. I remember, I think Jez Corder mentioned on his podcast not long ago that Obsidian have ambitions to release 7 games in the next 7 years, which sounds absurd. Luke, you're saying the last game that had all of that was Order 1886, and we all know how that turned out. Yeah, honestly, like Order 1886 had everything right, except it was not fun at all. Like, it was so boring. I remember putting out there just navigating through corridors on the streets of London. I was like, is this all you have? Like, it was literally a tech demo. Like a very beautiful, very well acted, stunning, like visually interesting tech demo. I really wish they gave that franchise a second shot. I wish it's Ready at Dawn, right? I think they've been bought by Facebook now. Yeah, I wish they got to make a sequel, because that could have been something special. Anyway, sidetrack. Obsidian, 7 games in 7 years. It sounds absurd, but when you think about, okay, Grounded 1.0 could be their 2022 release. It seems like Avowed is going to be 2023. That's being rumored to be shown as soon as this month, maybe even at the Game Awards. Outer Worlds 2 is probably 2024. Josh Sawyer is apparently one of their other creative directors, is working on a smaller game. Here we go. Additionally, Obsidian veteran Josh Sawyer is building a game with a smaller team of developers. Not a lot is known about this title at the moment, but it's described internally as an indie darling. So maybe that arrives as well. They seem to be really staffing up for this one, so just Obsidian in general. So very ambitious stuff coming from Obsidian. I love what they did. I really enjoyed the Outer Worlds. I like that it was a more contained CRPG experience. I don't have the time for a Fallout, Witcher size, Elder Scrolls 100-hour RPG. I can't do it. I much prefer like Mass Effect 1 size 20-hour story, right? Or 12-15 hours for Outer Worlds as well. So Matt, go play Outer Worlds. So good. Cameron, you're saying I really want to see what Moon Studios gets up to next. Me too, my friend. Me too. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. If anyone wants to jump in and talk about Xbox first party and what we're most excited for, just jump into Discord as well. Join the waiting room, and we can talk about that if you like. Playground Games, obviously Fable, Rare. Who knows what's going on with Everwild? I hope they have another project in the works, so I just want to see something new from them. Coalition Gears 6, and obviously they said they're working on another IP as well. There were rumors about Disney, but I'll believe it when I see it. Perfect Dark, Forza, State of Decay 3, World's Edge. Be keen to see what they do next after Age 4. Now that that's out, Age will probably have a long tail, but we'll see what happens. I won't cover Bethesda. I really want to get to Xbox Game Studios publishing, and we'll see how that goes. So they have a lot of really exciting announced things like Contraband, As Dusk Falls from Interior Night. That looks like a really interesting, mostly story-driven game. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing some other things. Oh, Crossfire X, of course. But here we go. Here are the interesting rumored ones that kept popping up really recently. Obviously, we had, pardon me, an online RPG codenamed Project Dragon from IO Interactive. This is a new studio separate from the Hitman team, so that's really exciting. Though it sounds like that's really far out. This is the really, like, these next three are very, very exciting games to me because they're all very different and they don't sound like anything we've experienced before. Well, maybe we'll see. We also know about a project possibly codenamed Shaolin from Brass Line Entertainment, which is an action RPG style game featuring the hip hop group Wu-Tang Clan. Now, it's said that this is an action RPG style game with like a wacky art style, and the vibe and the theme is informed by the soundtrack, which is being collaborated on with the Wu-Tang Clan. Like, name another game like that. I'm so curious to see if this is actually a real thing. I trust Jez Corden's reporting. He says he only reports on stuff when he's seen documents. So if that's true, I can't wait to see it. We've heard Microsoft is working with Mainframe on a cloud-first multiplayer game for Xbox called PAX Day, while also building a 4X strategy game with Oxide, codenamed Indus. So that's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of 4X strategy games, but it'll be on Game Pass. I'll try it. Finally, we've also seen this. This is so exciting to me. Finally, we've also seen Project Belfry, which is a side-scrolling brawler from the developers of the Banner Saga Stoic Studio. I love the Banner Saga. It is an underappreciated series, and Stoic are incredibly talented. Side-scrolling brawler, speaking my language, I love Streets of Rage 4 and all the other Streets of Rage games, really. So the fact that we could get a side-scrolling brawler from that studio in particular, amazing. In fact, let me bring up just while we talk about other things, Banner Saga trailer or gameplay, and you guys can just see what's going on with this game, and just like the beautiful art style. Here we go. We just got a launch trailer. It's absolutely stunning. Like, if you haven't played the Banner Saga, go check it out. This is all animation from cutscenes and whatnot, but just wait till you see in game. It's absolutely glorious. Anyway, so the point I want to get to, particularly about these Xbox Game Studios publishing deals, is the fact that if Xbox don't acquire another studio ever, I'm happy, right? Like, they've got 23 studios right now. They're all going to be pumping out content. Plus, we've got, like, potentially... So we had Crossfire X. What else did I say? I'm going to have to go back to the article. Crossfire X, As Dusk Falls, Belfry, Oxide, Kojima's rumored game, and then also the Shaolin. Like, there's 6 Xbox Game Studios publishing titles that, if they all arrive in the next 4 years, like, that's stacked. That is so stacked. I want to see Xbox work with all types of studios, like, and deliver a variety of games and throw them into Game Pass. That's all I want. And like, Game Studios publishing is the wildcard that can partner with these really unique teams. Is everyone seeing this gameplay, this animation style, and this art style? It's absolutely stunning. Anyway, sorry, I've missed out on chat. Luke, you're waiting for Nintendo financials. I'll jump to that next, because I'm probably going to have to cut off, like, a lot of topics we'll be able to get to. Oh, they were discussing console for Age of Empires. True, yes, they want to figure out how to bring that to console. That's correct. Luke, you're saying a nice AoE Stories 2 and 3 definitive were worked on by Tantalus here in Melbourne. Yes, that's right, Australian studio. Matt, you're excited for the Gunk, so am I. I think that's December, right? Or did that get pushed back? Luke, you're saying Xbox Game Studios publishing is like EA Originals. Big studios helping little guys, always a welcome thing. Yeah, I agree, right? Like, I think that's what Interior Night, that partnership's all about, right? Same thing you could say with Moon Studios. Cobra Toddy, geez, don't cut topics, just keep talking. Aw, that's really nice of you. I think I'm gonna need to lubricate the mouth. Getting dry mouth. If anyone wants to join me in Discord, so I can stop talking, please do. Anyway, that's kind of just what I want to get to Xbox Game Studios, publishing in particular. I'm really excited by what they're able to bring to the table. I think a lot of people forget them as well, right? Like, you think about the Coalition, Playground, Ninja Theory, Bethesda Studios, and you start to think about, what that means. Ben, you're saying I joined, but I don't know a thing about what you're talking about. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, so I'm so excited by everything that's being reported on, particularly by the guys at Windows Central, which has Gordon in the team. So just want to cover that off because I know I hadn't been talking about it on any of the other shows. So